The only thing he was really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. He played him like a fiddle. That's an expression we use. A dictator without elections. Zelenskyy better move fast, or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast, because that war is going in the wrong direction. In the meantime, we're successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia.
President Trump slamming Ukraine's President Zelenskyy. Vice President J.D. Vance also warned Zelenskyy to stop bad-mouthing Trump and the U.S. after Zelenskyy accused President Trump of living in, quote, Russian disinformation space. Vance says trashing Trump to the media is, quote, an atrocious way to deal with this administration. Joining me now is former Trump Deputy National Security Advisor and CPAC board member KT McFarland. KT, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And I know you're coming to us this morning from CPAC. Tell us your thoughts on what's going on with this new fight between Trump and Zelenskyy.
Come on. I mean, Zelenskyy wouldn't go to the negotiating table. Biden wouldn't go to the negotiating table. Why? Their reasoning was, well, we can't trust Putin. We can't trust any deal he'll agree to. So therefore, we're not even going to meet with him. So what's your plan? Oh, well, we're going to win. How are you going to win? Well, then President Biden says, we'll give you as much as you want, as long as it takes. They were going around in a circle. And President Trump, common sense, said, look, you're not winning this war. Let's end this war. Let's sit down. You don't do a deal unless you're talking to the other side. And that's what's really exciting. I mean, the people at CPAC are all talking about it. Do you think Donald Trump really is going to bring peace? Yeah, I do.
So where does this go? Because Trump also said that Ukraine broke a deal over the rare earth minerals after Zelenskyy ignored Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent when he traveled to Kyiv. We've been talking about what President Trump wants. He wants 50% of the revenues from the rare earth minerals extracted. Here's what he said about Kyiv. Watch.
And then Scott Bessent actually went there and was treated rather rudely, because essentially they told him no, and Zelenskyy was sleeping and unavailable to meet him. He traveled many hours on the train, which is a dangerous trip. And we're talking about the Secretary of the Treasury. He went there to get a document signed. And when he got there, he came back empty. They wouldn't sign the document.
KT, your reaction?
You know, the United States has kept Zelenskyy and Ukraine alive, and you would think they would be happy to do an agreement with us for the development of their rare earth minerals. Not only as gratitude, but thinking of the future. If the United States does develop Ukraine's rare earth minerals, a lot of that is in the eastern part of Ukraine. So it's a guarantee that the Russians aren't going to attack Ukraine again. The Russians aren't going to go across the border and kill Americans who are developing at mines and are developing rare earth minerals. So for two reasons, Zelenskyy should be thrilled about a deal that President Trump is offering him.
Well, I mean, look, is this a commitment for more aid, or is this payback for the aid that Biden sent him? I mean, 50% of all revenues from the extraction of these rare earth minerals, that's a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, I think at this point they're negotiating the terms of the deal. Is it 50%? Is it 30%? You know, President Trump will always go in and ask for the higher number, right, and then maybe the part of the negotiation is finding the right number. And I hope that's what they're doing, because if President Zelenskyy is going to walk away from this and somehow say, I'm against any deal with Russia, I'm against any deal with America, really? Well, how does he plan to keep his country safe for the next 20, 30, 40 years?
Right. Meanwhile, let's talk Israel, because the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages, including the Bibas family, have been returned by Hamas, ending months of uncertainty for their loved ones. Kfir Bibas, his brother Ariel Bibas, their mother Shiri, were all taken during the October 7th attacks. Now they were murdered. The heartbreaking transfer happened in Gaza. Hamas displayed coffins alongside propaganda images blaming the United States and Israel for murdering this family. Israeli officials confirmed 6 more hostages could be freed Saturday as part of this deal. KT, this ceasefire deal, I mean, we don't even know how many more hostages are alive. Your thoughts?
No. And that they're killing babies. You know, how do you even talk to that? How do you even answer that? There are a number of freed hostages who are here at CPAC. I met with them last night. And the stories they've told are just horrible. I mean, you can't imagine the barbarity. As a result, we at CPAC have agreed, we've just sent out a resolution that we've all agreed to, saying that we condemn it, and we want Israel to finish the job, destroy Hamas so that it can never again rise from the ashes, as it has done every single time. So finish the job, destroy Hamas, let the region live in peace and prosperity.
I mean, do you think as part of that, Israel should destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, or, you know, the pursuit of a nuclear bomb? President Trump said they cannot have one. Should Israel go in and destroy it?
Well, President Trump said they can do a deal. We can do this on paper, or we can do it in another way, getting rid of Iran's nuclear program. I mean, Israel's done us a lot of favors. They've destroyed Hamas, well, most of Hamas. They've destroyed Hezbollah. They've taken out the Syrian missile defense batteries that would have prevented any kind of an aerial attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. So Iran is now naked. It is defenseless. And at the same time, President Trump's energy policies are going to bring down the price of oil, and then Iran is bankrupt. And the president's going to put back sanctions on Iran. So then Iran can't even sell the oil, even at a low price. Iran is going to be in a pretty desperate position very soon. So maybe we can solve this without going to war. Iran's nuclear program should not be allowed. Every president has said no to Iran's nuclear weapons. Nobody else had a plan to stop the program. I think President Trump does, working with Israel.
For sure. Let's talk CPAC kicking off today in Washington. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to speak later. You're a board member of CPAC. What are you hearing on the ground there? Tell us about the conversation this time.
It's enormous enthusiasm because, I mean, a couple of years ago, this was a pretty bleak conference because, President Trump had been denied in 2020. All of the dreams seemed to be dashed and crashed. And now it's like we've all been revived. It's like a resurrection. And the other thing that's really fascinating, Maria, CPAC is the umbrella organization for all conservative groups. Social conservatives, fiscal conservatives, national security conservatives, Second Amendment people. We're all here. We may not all agree with each other, but we're all conservatives. The thing that was missing was a lot of the tech people, the tech world. They're here now. They're showing up. They're probably libertarian more than they're anything, but they love President Trump's approach on tech, on cryptocurrencies, and so they're showing up in big numbers and, frankly, with big bucks.
Interesting. And young people, I guess, as well, within that tech space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing enthusiasm. The other thing that we're noticing is that countries around the world, Europe, South America, Asia, they're sending delegations now because they're all coming to CPAC and say, how did you guys do it? We're conservatives in our own country. We're seeing potentially a revival of conservative common sense values. We want to know how you did it. How do you have this conference? So we at CPAC, we're having conferences all over the world. CPAC Hungary, CPAC Brazil, CPAC Japan, Korea, because we want to spread the message, not just in America. How do you do it in America, but how do you do it in the world? This is not just a vibe shift in the United States. This is a vibe shift globally.
KT, what do you want to hear from the National Security Advisor? What's most important from a foreign policy perspective in terms of the Trump administration today?
I want to hear several things. What I want to hear is a status report on Ukraine. How are those peace talks going? I really want to hear what's the story with China. Are we going to get tough with China? And I guess I want to hear most of all is how we're going to develop our energy security, which is our national security. If we develop the energy, not only is it great for the American economy, but it bankrupts Russia. It bankrupts China. It gives Europe a lifeline to say, use American natural gas, don't use Russian stuff.
Yeah.
And it puts us in a position of globally, really energy dominance, as President Trump says the best.
Yeah, and that's why he signed all those executive orders around energy. KT, good to see you. Thanks so much.